Welcome, survivors, burnout community, and those just interested. It's Kelly Bubolz, trainer, author, speaker, and your burnout prevention mentor. Burnout is not taboo. It's our reality in this chaotic, fast-paced world. But we're not going to let it drive the narrative to our stories. We're going to do something about it. So let's dig in. There was someone that I was talking to, and she was just exhausted. And she says, Kelly, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, what's your goal? And she says, I'm too tired. I'm sick of being tired. I'm too tired to have goals. And I thought that was interesting. And my response to her was, that is the goal. You are so tired that the goal now is to not be tired. And why it's important to have these goals is your brain without goals will follow the masses. It's going to go the direction that others tell you to go, feeding this survivorship mode, contributing to the lack of control keeping you there. See, in the masses, this hustle culture is, I'm tired. Mondays stink. Sundays scaries. Can't wait for Friday. That means 5 out of the 7 days are just spent in dread. That's why we have goals. That's how we don't lose our identity and our passion for what we do in personal and professional growth. And the brain naturally falls into cycles of growth and goals. And we can help it along by focusing on progress, small or large. When we don't allow this brain to naturally fall into goals and passions and directions it wants to go, it will instead focus on what's wrong with your life, what's wrong with your relationship, what's wrong with your friends, your family, your career, your kids, everything that's wrong. It will feed that narrative. It will obsess over others and their lives. Social media helps with that naturally. Comparing our lives to others without knowing the background story. It might even focus on repeating past events over and over and over again. Again, lessons will keep being lessons until they're learned. Without a goal, it will repeat. No one enjoys that. No one enjoys repeating these hard seasons over and over again. But whatever you're not changing, you are choosing. So yes, those lessons will keep being lessons. The brain, and without goals, will create this high stress and anxiety chemical patterns, feeding the same narrative. For a long time in my recovery, I craved chaos. I craved more stress than I can handle because I was groomed in that environment a very long time. My body craved a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. It didn't want goals. It craved the chaos, which was extremely unhealthy for me, obviously, because I had physical crash of burnout. So I had to force the goals, and sometimes you have to, until you get into a rhythm of energy management in which it craves new goals, small and large. Figuring out your goals isn't the hard part. Making them obtainable and keeping the momentum is the true challenge. A great way to start making goals is decide how you want to live, and then see what you can do to make a living in that way of life. The best way that I found to do that in energy management is a process called Giddy Up, the Giddy Up process. I want you to make a list of what do you want? What's important about that to you? Why does that matter? Why are you writing that down? Is it something that happened to you that you don't want to happen ever again? Is it something that you crave? That you met someone that has that and you want that? And you understand enough of their lifestyle to want that? Because the next step is, what will you need to give up to get there? What will you need to focus on to feed that need? What will you need to learn? Who are you going to surround yourself with? Which means, unfortunately, you will stop surrounding yourself amongst others to make space for that? What mindset and narrative will you begin to tell yourself? What part of the energy management framework in that story section will you tell yourself? How will you address the obstacles that will come? You know that there's parts of this world already against you on the way because you're challenging the normal narrative. You're not following the masses if you're following your goals. So how will you address some of these obstacles? A great way to even address those obstacles is find a mentor, someone who's already been on this journey, someone who has had similar lifestyles and had to adapt and address similar hurdles towards a different goal. How will you reward yourself to keep going? If you've been on any type of journey to achieve a goal, you know if you don't reward yourself, you just shame yourself. Days seem like regrets because you didn't do enough. It seems like you're not making progress. So how will you reward yourself? This doesn't have to be in material goods. This doesn't have to be monetary. This could just be reflection. This could be giving yourself space to journal. This could be giving yourself an opportunity to attend a conference or a training that you always wanted to feed the need of the goal. But you need to get to a certain point before you allow yourself such reward. So the giddy up process takes you through what do you want? What's important about that? The things you're going to have to give up, the people you're going to stop hanging around, where you're going to need to learn, how you're going to run this narrative, this story, which will make you able to address the obstacles and challenges that will come, give you space to be around mentors and people that you want to surround yourself with, and then allow space to give yourself that reward and reflection to keep going. What's interesting about goal setting, and this is more on the workforce side because I don't do life coaching, I do workforce energy management, is that most organizations and teams don't know where they want to go. And I think it's just because we've been in this chaos so long that they don't know how good it can be. They don't know that thriving teams come in, they work, they communicate well, they collaborate, and they go home. They don't check their emails all night long. They don't have these discrepancies and endless chats of dysfunction in which you have to snip it to other people to prove that you're right. Those energy drainers just don't happen because they've been working on these energy management factors towards a goal. They've been working on the stories and the narratives that they're telling themselves, telling each other, and realigning towards a common direction. They've worked through the tools of healthy conflict so that they can have that collaboration, talk about different ideas at the table, and have that psychological safety to move forward together from wherever they've been, wherever they're at, and they move together. They work on time management. They work on effective meetings. Do you see all the tools that come into play in workforce energy management? But if you don't have a goal, you will just follow the direction that others are telling you to go. You will follow the direction that a majority of companies are in, with high turnover, low retention of their people, and they keep shooting darts at the target with their eyes closed instead of addressing where they're draining the energy on their teams. If you need some assistance on goal setting, action planning, and execution of these goals, let's set up a call and discover what tools your team needs to move out of these drainers and back to energy and engagement and productivity. So focused on root causes that all these symptoms go away. Goals so aligned with where the company and the team wants to go that you don't have to put in a lot of work to bring people along. They naturally want to follow. I know you're not lazy. Most people in burnout are high performers, those serving others before themselves. Don't discount this step today, the action in which you focus on your self-growth. Piecing together the puzzle is half the journey. Rediscovering yourself, energy, and establishing new habits is the other. Do not underestimate the untapped inner strength inside you. Explore more resources on my website to move from zombie mode back to liveliness. See you soon.